Hey guys, still here. Welcome back to Red Dragon. We're on our favorite hunting grounds once again. Mudfight. 10v10 tactical. And today we're following Spartan117, but before we do so, I had a good laugh at one of the usernames from one of the other teammates. Don't question my manliness. I've seen some weird nicknames over the last couple of years, but this one, this one ranks right up there with some of the best ones. Don't question my manliness. Anyway, we're following Spartan117, and Spartan is going to be operating on the left side. When I saw his replay come in, I saw, oh, he's playing Israeli Armored. He must be going right side, because a Merkava 3B is nothing to sneer at. No. In fact, he's going left. And he is already putting up an attack marker saying, hey, I'm going to take my Merkavas over here. This is already good coordination, so definitely plus points for that. The amount of people who just do not do that is still way too damn high. Now, he's going to be using a combination of a couple of Merkavas backed up with some other units which are desperately needed if you're using Merkavas, such as a Machbet and some reconnaissance. Now, fortunately, he's not heading over here alone. Brendryen is also going this way. And the combination between Brendryen and Spartan117 over here is going to be what makes this replay quite good. Now, he should be deploying units any second now here. Let's see what else we have. An LAV-3 TUA. Interesting. There's the first Merkava 3B. There's the second one. Pinsgauer, Saxon, Vickers Mark 11. Oh. I really like the Vickers Mark 11. So, they're so mobile. They have a really punchy gun. They have just as much armor as my Toyota Prius, maybe a little bit more. But other than that, they're very easy to dispose of. Unlike my Toyota, aside from that. The Merkava 3B, on the other hand, is much more difficult to dispose of. 21 frontal armor, 7 side, 4 back and 4 top. Comes with a very punchy gun, 20 AP, which also works on the move. Because if I can select the right unit over here, there we go. This thing has 60% stabilization and 65% if you're sitting still. So this tank really doesn't care if it's moving or not. It just cares if it's getting shot at. And that's exactly what's happening, because it is a 10v10 tactical, so somebody had to ruin the game and bring cluster munitions in the first couple of minutes in the game. Anyway, he's going in with 2 of these, and of course an important element of the 3B that I haven't covered yet is the grenade launcher. That, at short range, will chew through infantry at a very high pace, making life of Brendryen's infantry quite a bit easier. Also, as mentioned previous, a Machbet and a Zelda with Bedouins inside. For AA, we got a couple of Roland Mark IIIs. Fortunately, because a Machbet will dissuade enemy helicopters from pushing in too close, but is not really that much of a threat against enemy airplanes. Fortunately, though, you could argue that airplanes on this side of the map are really not that difficult to counter, because you have so much terrain to counter. You can just easily veer your tanks back into cover, break line of sight, and make sure that ATGMs, especially those from aircraft, which most of the time need line of sight, unless they're fire and forget, they need line of sight to hit. Now you can see that Brendryen over here is in position with Pathfinders, he's moving with Grizzlies, and he already has some other Pathfinders in position. Also a Humvee leads me to believe that he is using a NORAD deck. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a NORAD motorized. Seeing the type of units that he's using. Although, yeah, very likely to be a motorized deck. He also has a DAP over here on the flank. In case his units do get attacked by air, the DAP can come in and secure those kills. But for the moment, the ground targets are much more important. The Merkavas are already doing work, killing off a couple of lightly armored targets on the side. Unfortunately, one of them takes a fairly big hit from something coming out of this town. This is an ATGM of currently unknown make and model. We can see it's not particularly fast, and it does do damage, but not terrible amounts. So it is probably somewhere in the, I'd say, low 20s range of AP. Meaning that, so far, the Merkavas are more threatened by the cluster munition coming in than the ATGMs. Still, he's going to need to repair these things before he goes on the offensive. Meanwhile, Brendryen is scouting out with a Humvee, not really expecting any kills, probably expecting the Humvee to get killed instead, but it makes her a good scout. And the Canadian Airborne, as well as the Pathfinders and Delta Force, are ready to make a move on the position if there is nothing in there. The Merkavas, unfortunately, not quite ready to assist with that. But Birchinator is already, Big Fatty Noob is already sending in an HLVW. Supply will be here. And this is exactly where the Merkavas are standing by to get resupplied and repaired. Fortunately, the Machbet gets detracked. And while the Machbet might be an AA unit, do not discount it when you're fighting against enemy ground targets. Because that Vulcan can make very quick work of enemy infantry, provided that you keep it just outside of AT range. Especially in these areas, infantry can creep up on you, and if the Machbet is able to get a couple of shots off before it gets hit, well, there won't be any infantry left to get hit. There we go. Spartan says, thank you very much for the supplies. Merkava 3Bs are being repaired and resupplied. And once those things are done, we can actually push up with the infantry and have a little bit more support. We also have, and I'm not exactly sure what a pre-dawn bike is, but we have it over here. Storm Pioneer pushing up along with XA-180s. And so far, the Pathfinders have seen a couple of Panzerjäger, but aside from that, the area over here is remarkably quiet. So the question is, where is Red? Well, Red's operating over here, slightly more off to the right, with a couple of BMPTs, an MI-25, and they're making life hard on the right flank, so Foxtrot, which is currently only covered by one Command Abrams, a Patriot, a bunch of mortars, and some Milan 2 HGMs. I'm not sure if they already killed a Super Heavy over here, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. And for the moment, interestingly, it seems to be just a mortar fight. With don't question my manliness, sorry, I cannot say that with a serious face. His mortars are currently firing back at the Lock 84s, and the Lock 84s seem to be firing back at the Abrams, so just a long-range shooting match. Anyway, we have contacts. Storm Pioneer, Panzerjäger, as well as Motorschützen. Emphasis on the Motorschützen 90. These things get too close to your expensive Merkava 3s, and the Merkava 3s won't be there. Unfortunately, for Birchinator, his infantry is having quite a hard time dealing with that much infantry force. So the Merkava is moving into a position, and if it would like to swing its turret the right way, and the rest of the hull, then that would be a plus. There we go, there goes the grenade launcher. A couple of shells going out. He did get one 20-point kill, so he probably killed one group. Now this is really risky. He's trying to save the Birchinator infantry. But in order to do that, he has to risk the Merkava. And you could argue, is this worth the risk? Because the Canadian Airborne is worth 25, plus transports, so say maybe 35. A Merkava 3B that takes a hit and dies to Motorschützen 90 is worth 155, so it is far more valuable than the infantry. So in this case, do you let the infantry die, or do you risk your Merkava? At the moment, it seems to be, I'm going to risk the Merkava. Both Mercs are in position. There's another group of Motorschützen 90, which are currently being murdered by FKP, but the FKP are having a similarly hard time with another group of Motorschützen 90. And since these guys are so deep into the woods, the Merkava, as much as it's trying to, just cannot get close enough to fire. The line of sight is obstructed over here, so the FKP die much before the Merkava 3B can do anything. He's immediately putting up a marker, fall back, get out of here. Fortunately, he was able to kill off one squad, and there seemed to be a bit of artillery support coming in over here from Pre-Dawn Bike with his Amos. That might have gotten another group, or at least gotten it panicked. And for the moment, it seems that this could go either way, Canadian Airborne versus the Motorschützen, unless the Merkava 3s intervene. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're almost pulling up alongside the infantry, and goodbye Motorschützen 90. So far, we've been able to kill quite a bit of infantry, but at the expense of some infantry as well. Especially that loss of the triple group of FKP was quite painful to see. Now over here, we still don't quite know what's over here. Spartan says, I think we can take this now. Again, good coordination. He was not on voice comms with anyone, but just coordinating through these markers and taking a bit of time out of micromanaging your units to put up text markers really makes life more easy for everybody. And we know that there is one HGM team in here. If that is in fact everything, then they should be able to take it. And even the Bedouins with their M14 might be able to take them out from that range. The Merkava 3Bs, though, they'll probably fire one round and immediately put the Fagot out of their misery. The question remains, do we have enough infantry over here, and do we even need the town? Well, I'd say yeah, you probably need the town. Because at this moment, Red seems to be going deeper and deeper into this sector. And while Kutai 90 can defend the town, the infantry can still walk up here, potentially kill off 1, 2, 3 command vehicles, and very quickly work their way towards Echo, which would be incredibly bad news. Anyway, Fagot dead, so he can now move in with infantry. Birchinator has put infantry back in a Grizzly and is relocating his infantry towards the town. This is very good team play. Just this level of coordination, I'd say it's pretty rare. You just don't see that very often. So when you do see it, that's what I really like. Spartan then asks, should I get supplies or save for another tank? Let's see what Birch thinks. Actually, let's see what you guys think in the comments. Judging on the tactical situation, what do you think he needs? Do we need more tanks? More supplies? What's it going to be? Well, Birch already sent supplies. Based on what I'm seeing over here, and based on what a NORAD deck has, I don't think you need HGMs in here, because NORAD HGMs are pretty terrible. In fact, I think that, although I'm not sure if the Israeli armored deck has it, Spartan could have brought in a Spike HGM team. Something like that over here would make it quite difficult for Red to actually get units over there. And with a reconnaissance unit that could have been brought in by Birchinator, they could take over this position and use it against Red. I will support with tanks if you want to push a little. Again, good coordination. Let's see how the right flank's doing. Not so well. Don't question my manliness is being forced to retreat. I'm not going to say he's fully on the run, because that would be questioning his manliness, and we wouldn't want to do that. He's trying to pull back his mortars a little bit, and smoking up or attacking stuff with HE munitions as much as possible, while also bringing in what I think are, Royal Marines. The question is, are these guys going to be able to put up enough fire to deal with the infantry that's in here? The Buffalo 4s definitely can, but the Buffalo 4s are going to have a hard time dealing with an XA-185 KT. Because that thing has far more armor than infantry, and is in fact quite difficult to deal with, unless you fire a tow missile at it. So that seems to be taking care of the infantry on that end. Alright, back to the left. Let's see how far we can push. This town would be the next logical stop. The Merkavas especially could be very handy to support, unless the enemy has parked HGMs in here. If they did that, then it's going to be a little bit more tricky to get in here. And for the moment, just doing a bit of scouting ops should be the priority. Fortunately, we got the Pathfinders, we got the Bedouins, we have light riflemen, although, well, I wouldn't really put those up against other infantry, and I really wouldn't put them up against any vehicle that is heavier than a transport. Let's not get too greedy. Exactly, don't get too close. For the moment, you have Alpha, you have Delta, you even have Foxtrot, although that is questionable. So for the moment, they should, or they could, if they wanted to, just maintain their position, and with that, consolidate their forces. Use that income that they have. I'm not exactly sure what a Tunguska is doing all the way out here. And especially those Legion 90s could be a real big problem for Birchinator's infantry. But they are no problem whatsoever for the Merkava 3s. As the Merkavas are utterly unimpressed with those HE munitions. The only thing that can hurt them are the Panzerjäger and the Modestrelki. And they're even making quick work of that. There goes a Panzerjäger group. There's the Modestrelki, which are currently stunned. That should be them done. Here's the transports, and I'm assuming those are the transports that the Legion rode in with. So, the Legion, where did they go? We saw them move here. But I wouldn't really want to be pushing with my infantry unless you're using some reverse psychology. Oh, free supplies. I don't think they're going to be able to capture those. This is both a little greedy and risky, but I understand why he's trying to do it. He's trying to get the infantry. Now I'm taking a risk, but I can kill AA. Yep, fair enough. So there goes another tank, or sorry, another transport. We saw a couple of Logi units moving over here. If he can capture those, he can resupply those tanks, which, to be fair, they could use. They're not in a terrible state, but you never know. The thing that worries... Oh, hello. The thing that worries me is their lack of reconnaissance. These things only have medium optics, so at the moment they're fully reliant on their own optics. There goes one BMPT. I'm sure Birchnader's going to thank him for that soon. Want air cover? At this point, I'd say yes, please. Pushing out with the Merkava. Can he get the BMPT? Yeah, he can. There you go, 60 points. And he's making a pull back into the cover of the forest over here. Not a moment too soon, because we got aircraft on the rise here. Q5Ds. Those are fortunately only, well, only dropping HE bombs. Heavily damaging the Merc 3, but it survived. But now you're definitely going to need some supplies. Now, back to the right, how we're doing there. Oh, just move in a command vehicle, why don't you? That's particularly bold. Where's he going? We've also found a Senka sniper team. Nighthawk seems to think that a CV makes for a really good snack. Let's see if he can get that. Look at that dispersion. I know that these things are laser guided, so he probably clicked 2 different locations, but holy crap. That thing didn't even hit on the map. And seeing as their position is neutralized, and he got 90 points, so that's not a CV. They're still neutralized, so the enemy still has that CV in their summer, but 90 points could be an AA unit, maybe. Although an AA unit would have probably returned fire. Now, score-wise, red is doing a little better than blue at the moment. We're seeing 1925 versus 1675. They are moving a couple more units into position and trying to consolidate their hold on Foxtrot. Or, well, that's not exactly fair. It's not exactly a hold that they have at the moment. It's just that they're trying to bring more units in here. But, yeah. I'm not exactly sure why we're seeing a Pongay 2 over here. Maybe to deter that Nighthawk from coming in again. They're even coordinating. Look at this. This is rare. People coordinating this well with attack markers. Now at the moment please heal, detract. Yeah. He has his stuff on. For some reason he's not repairing. The other one is, fortunately. It's going to take a lot of supplies to put all that armor back together. Yeah, that hemp's draining quickly. We still have units down here. Is that the same recon team that we saw previous? This big fatty noob again with his Canadian deck. Can you get that shot? You can, but you missed him. These things, I think you don't see enough on the battlefield. The Vickers. 2 frontal armor, 2 side, 1 back and 1 top. They have a 105mm gun. It fires fairly quickly, is very accurate, especially on the move. And the vehicle is even amphibious, and that makes it so flexible, because you can just take it over rivers and expect, or attack where the enemy is not expecting you. So, if you haven't actually looked at the Vickers Mark 11 yet, I really like it. It's a really, really flexible vehicle. Just don't put it up against another tank, because that is not what it's for. But if you're using one of these to escort, for example, an early motorized group that heads into a town, then this thing will take out any transport that might be threatening yours. That's what these things are for. Or at least, that's how I use them at the moment. They're saying let's hold here. Not really moving up just yet, but they do have a third Merkava coming. Yep, there we go. There's the third Merkava en route, but it's going to take a bit of time to get there. Let's stay focused on the right until they do. Is that another command unit? I know that that's not it, but there was another command unit moving about. The Hayate was forced to move out, since their hold on this sector is very, very low. Nighthawk strikes something. Let's see if an attack marker goes in. Don't get at infed. What? I think he's being heavily dissuaded not to go in. Everybody's saying, no, 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 no. You're not going to take that M1A2 in there. It's too risky. Yep, there you have it again. Hayate's on the move. Hornet takes a shot, kills off a something. That was an AA unit, to think of all things. Manages to survive, doesn't even take a single scratch. There's... Jesus, how much AA do you want in this sector? We've seen Pongays, we just saw an Osa, there's a Newa coming in. These guys have a lot of anti-air. But they're also bringing in more heavy firepower. T-72 1989's coming in. That could be bad news for the Abrams. Oh, please don't push in with the Abrams. Wait for the infantry to back you up. That hurt. Was that a BMP-1? Was that the BMP-1 that... that Vickers wasn't able to kill earlier? Let's see. That's a BRM-1K. Oh, oh. Careful here now. Because this is the RPG-7 VR, and this will do quite a lot of damage against an Abrams. Even an M1A2. That thing just took it down to half health. Commanders and Royal Marines should have led that fight, and then had the M1A2 back it up, not the other way around. Peace Pheasant circling around. Interesting use, by the way. I wouldn't personally pick up Peace Pheasant. 900 kph speed, 20% ECM, so it's decent at dodging missiles. Its missiles themselves are fire and forgets, which is fortunate. It means just drop your missiles and get out. And it seems that he might have found his target. Let's see if that's what he's going for. Yeah, he's going directly for the 1989. But there is a lot of AA. And he hit him and killed him off. Here comes the Neva. It misses. Tries it again. Misses again. And this time around he's ready and kills off the Neva. Under escort from 2 Eagles. That got both the tank and the AA piece and didn't lose a single plane. Good airstrike there, well done. And Red seems to be on the defensive at this point. They are at 23.55 when they were ahead not too long ago. Blue's at 27.05 and he's now saying, okay, let's push. What they have to push is 3 Merkava 3Bs, Canadian Airborne 90, Light Rifleman says I'm bringing an Oshkosh to resupply. There's more Canadian Airborne 90. We still have the Bedouins and the Machbet, so we should be okay for infantry over here. Good stuff. I'm not exactly sure what is good stuff, but apparently he took something out with his Black Hawk. No, the Black Hawk has all ammo. This thing does not. But for 40 rounds of ammunition, you don't really get yourself another infantry unit killed. There goes a sniper team. I want to see this push. I want to see what they're going for. Look at that. It's almost like they're moving up in formation. Let's push slowly. What are we going to encounter here? Oh, hello, command vehicle. T-80 UK. Oh, will the Hornet get a shot? Yeah, it got a shot, but it didn't get a kill. But the Peace Pheasant did. Longbow's Peace Pheasant, and I know that that's a bit of a contradiction, but Longbow's Peace Pheasant got the kill. Unfortunately, at the expense of his aircraft, and the F-15 Deagle also went down. Damn. Well, they got the command tank out of the way. But at the expense of more points than that tank was worth. Uh-oh, Spets grew. Pre-dawn bike. I hope you see that. Yeah, he saw it. Those are 2 snipers. That's Spetsnaz sniper teams. Oh, these Volkskremjäger are wide out in the open. I hope this guy still has his AMOS, because these guys really need to go. He's pretty much screwed here with his Volkskremjäger. Yep, there's the HE impacts. It's gonna take a bit more to get rid of a Spetsnaz team. He's trying it again. Those guys fire again. And they're gonna make quite a hole. There we go. Well, they got him stunned, but that doesn't last long with the Spetsnaz team. HE on their last known location. Sturmpioneer, Volkskremjäger pushing up, but these guys are retreating. I didn't quite get what that was. 5 points is only a transport. Or reservist, but the latter is unlikely. XA-180, are you trying to run them down? Because there is still more down there. That's the other Groot team. Come on, where are your mortars? His Amoses are pushing up, but not actually firing at the moment. Still though, just to push across wide open terrain with infantry, that's impressive. And the fact that he's getting away with it and not getting fired at by tanks or other support vehicles here means that there might not be too much. Yeah, I saw that Tunguska before. I'm just not sure what else is in there. That could have killed off one Spatscrew team. How is the Abrams doing? It's still being repaired. Now this thing seems to be just... There we go. Too deep in line of sight or in a tree line to actually get him killed. Shit. ATGM's coming in. Conquers M. These guys are very dangerous to a Merkava 3. If they fire both at the same time and both hit, then that could be the end of one tank. That's 15 points. That was probably another transport. What else are you going to hit? Cargoes. Oh, and they're being donated. Thank you. Redirect. Redirect. Now hope that you can get them into the forest before the conquerors are able to take those things out. If they want to, that is. Hold on. If Echo is now being secured, that means that it was not secured a moment ago. Did any of their command vehicles take fire? Not that I know of. This guy could use fuel. This guy could use a bit of repairs. Same for this one. And he's still pushing up with Burchinator. Oh, taking fire. T-80A. T-80A, 16 frontal armor, 18 AP on the gun. This thing has 21 frontal armor, 20 AP on the gun, so he can penetrate it and not take damage in return at max range. But this tank is damaged and this one is not. This is the most healthy Merkava 3B that he has. Unfortunately, Sunahukin is not staking around with T-80. That was death by 1,000 machine gun rounds. Come on, Merc. You got this. There's 3 of you versus 1 of him. You're a better tank. He might have spotted them now. He's trying to get away. But in doing so, he's exposing the side armor of the tank. Ooh, he's lucky that that didn't hit. Fires off an ATGM on the move. Merc gets hit. No, does not get hit. He's fine. Tries it again, misses again. Spatscrew currently engaged with the infantry, and these guys are in a far worse position than they were back here. Unfortunately, that Conquerors is still a threat. That narrowly broke line of sight. Come on. It's just 3 guys, but those ATGMs really hit home. There's 1 guy dead. They're close, but their AA is just limited to being 1 Machbet. If that thing goes down, well, good luck trying to defend against aircraft. Or helicopters. There goes a recon bird. Come on. VDV-90. Heavily suppressed. so much by the Grizzlies that the Merkavas haven't even done anything yet. That's about to change. There goes the VDV. Is that the tank again? Yeah, that was the T-80A. Still out here. He doesn't seem to know exactly what threat to angle against, because he's facing this threat, but also these two. So that T-80A has a really hard time deciding which one is the bigger threat. And he can only face his threat, or one of his threats, with frontal armor. So the others are going to be far more vulnerable. You're attacking with Morskaya 90 over the open ground into 2 Merkava 3Bs. Interesting. Here comes an aircraft. That's a Yak-38. That's napalm bomb. 1, 2, 3 even. He kills one. That one's going to be right on top of his vehicles. Fortunately, they have the armor. The infantry does not, and the infantry mostly seems to be alright. Look at how far these guys have pushed up. When they were heavily on the defensive in Fox. There's a command vehicle spotted. Machbet is panicked, but not dead. So he can still be repaired and reused. Unfortunately, for the moment, that means that he's out of the fight. PTRD countering. You're coming in with a TO-55 now. Did you too miss the fact that there are 2 Merkava 3B sitting there? This, however, is far more of a threat than the TO-55. The HJ-8 has missiles that can inflict serious damage on the Merkava 3Bs, if they can see it. Doing a bit of damage there to the Yak-141, but also giving away the fact that the Machbet is not dead. And heavily panicked. And Morskaya, oh crap, here comes the napalm. Unfortunately, he fires the napalm directly on top of his friendly transport. This looks really weird. The fact that you know that there's a napalm tank there, but you can't see it. Look at that. I have never seen this. I'm usually the one using the thing, so I can always see my tank, but that was an unusual sight. A tree being done with everything and just firing napalm at the surrounding area. Now the Pathfinders are clearing out the rest of this town. Shouldn't have too much of a problem, although I'm not sure if I can take on this special afklader. They might need a bit of a hand. They're not getting it. Matar surrenders. Yeah, that helo is still here. He's driving the Machbet in a position where he can counter it, but this thing has 2800 meter range. And this thing has 2800 meter range, so it's really going to be a question of who fires first, and it's the Machbet. Helo doesn't even get a shot off. Oh, there he goes. He does get a shot off. But that missile really shouldn't be too much of a threat. Well, that's not entirely fair. I say that now. Here, you can still see it. That missile is not too much of a threat. That's not exactly accurate. Because I have had those missiles just veer off course. And you think that you're safe. And then it still somehow lands right on top of a CV. And kills it. It's not the first time that something like that would happen. And probably not the last either. Now it's just a question of cleaning up. Now Spartan has scored 1215 points, Birchinator 295, but keep in mind that I'd say you need to equal the scores between Spartan and Birchinator. Because yes, the Merkavas did a hell of a lot of work, but if you'd have just sent 3 of the Merkavas into this forest, they'd be dead before they got halfway there. So Birchinator definitely deserves a lot of credit over here. And the HJ-8 is this time around getting some missiles off, taking 1 hit, taking 2 hits. He's getting fired at from both the town and the HJ-8. This one cannot take another hit. Oh, hit. Yep, he's dead. Machbet moving up. The HJ-8 at this point is probably out of ammo. And look at Birchinator rush through that smoke screen with Grizzlies. Moving into position. This is probably where I drop him off. There we go. Canadian Airborne dropped off. There goes a PHZ-80, I think it was. And there's the Conquerors team. Another Merkava 3 is at the risk of being killed off. Unless the Canadian Airborne can intervene. Ooh, he got him. Why are... Seriously, he's killing off his own previous fob. The enemy is at your door and you decide to fire the logistical location. Curious choice. There goes the last command vehicle. He did manage to get the HJ8. Burchinator, together with the Merkavas from Spartan 117 and support from the units from the other side, they're all linking up over in Bravo, and the battle is over. So let's have a look at exactly what he killed. And again, he killed far more in points than Burchinator, but if Burchinator hadn't provided the infantry, then Spartan 117 just would not have gotten this many points. Let's have a look. Burchinator 533, losses 415. Yeah, this was to be expected. I think that the Canadian Airborne are good infantry. However, they are not ideal at countering enemy infantry. So a unit like that can definitely work, but I'd say there are better infantry units that might do more damage in countering something like that. Anyway, let's see what actually Spartan killed. Merkava 3B, Motorschützen, Legion 1 group. However, did the other Legion die? Because there were 3 of them. He did kill both of the BMPTs, but that was after he dashed out beyond the Legion 90. Did the Legion 90 even die? Were they still there? Just waiting. Look at this Machbet go. Mi-25. MiG-29M. That's a fairly expensive jet. Recon Helo, 2 napalm bombers, and 2 anti-tank helicopters. That's a good score for a Machbet. Merkava 3B. He just... Yeah, he only got kills with his 3 tanks and his AA gun. Well done. And the most interesting thing is, he did not have voice comms or any previous association with Burchinator. If something like this happens in Wargame, this is exhilarating. This is what you play Wargame for. This is what you really like. And this is what you really want to see. But unfortunately, it doesn't quite happen enough. So next time you're playing with a group of people you don't know and you're not on voice comms with, try to coordinate with them as much as possible. Think what you need or what they need to continue pushing. And coordinate with them with text markers, because it really makes for a much, much better game. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the replay. If you have any good replays of your own, then by all means send those in through the link down below in the description. If you want to join my Discord, again, link in the description down below. And aside from that, I hope to see you soon for more replays.